We have two confidants today that have too little going on to warrant them getting their own video.
Yeah, so we're just gonna lump them together because they're all like kind of related, so it's like whatever. It's not like a weird combination like the Confidants, Futaba, and EY or some shit.
So what we have here are the two Velvet Room confidants we got. Igor, who is the Fool confidant, and Goten and Trunks, who represent the Strength confidant. Igor's is one of those general plot progression confidants that we fucking hate.
I don't know if I necessarily hate them. I just think that most of the time they suck. Like, I'm okay with, like, group sort of social links, even though I think that's kind of like a weird concept. But, like, I'm okay with those. But with, like, individuals, I think it tends to be kind of funky.
Yeah, and Igor, sadly, is no exception. It only really becomes interesting on your second playthrough, where you can try to, like, pinpoint certain hints
Yeah, then it's actually really neat.
that Yabba Dabba Doo is dropping on you. But otherwise, like, you'll just be like, man, Igor's an asshole today.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really like about Persona 5 that I think they did very, very well is that Igor's dialogue is like subtly, weirdly more aggressive, but it's not to the point where you immediately think something is wrong, right? It's kind of like the Colonel in Metal Gear Solid 2, because in Metal Gear Solid 2, the Colonel speaks in this very robotic, kind of like monotone voice, and it kind of gives off the impression that the voice actor was just kind of having a funky day. It wasn't really trying. But it turns out it's actually a fucking robot.
That's kind of what you get with Igor. Because all of his events sort of mesh together, there's a lot of like subtle things that we can pick up. And one of the ones that I didn't notice until I like checked out the wiki to remember, he doesn't give you the Velvet Key immediately.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's weird.
The first thing that made me think that's kind of a strange thing to say is like, this is in one of the first trailers, is when he's like, welcome to my Velvet Room. And that line is so subtly, like, ingenious because it's so subtle that he says my Velvet Room. It's the sort of thing, like I said, where you don't really pay too much mind to it, but it kind of sticks in your head like, Eeyore never said my Velvet Room. Or did he?
He keeps up this sort of like stiffer, like more strict Igor, and you can kind of pass it as like he's just trying to keep the prison mood up.
Yeah, he says a lot of like weird things. Like he says something like use your bonds as a source of power in a more like, yeah, use them, become stronger, instead of like oh, the bonds with people will make you like in correlation more powerful. He kind of gives off this aura of like use them and be strong.
He does a lot to shape the tone of the game.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, some people are like, that's a stupid twist or whatever, but I think it's brilliant less because of, like, the in-game shit and more kind of from this weird, like, out-of-universe context. Because, as we all know, Igor's voice actor died. He's been dead for quite a while now. But they kept reusing, like, his old voice lines for shit, because Igor very rarely says anything except the same, like, couple of things, you know? So when he finally got a new voice actor, it was like, okay, it's time, they're ready to move on. And then it turns out that's, like, a completely different being. And that the real Igor is still using the same fucking quotes from the guy who's been dead for years now.
Oh, that was kind of awful.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of awful in like a, this is ingenious sort of way.
I was kind of hoping they would have like an actual new voice for him, because how long can they just bank on those?
Yeah, they've got to move on at some point, and now they can't pull the like Igor is not Igor shit again, because now we expect it.
Like, they can't, because we think that it'd be stupid of them to try it again.
That gives them more incentive to actually try it.
Yeah.
So what actually happens in Igor's Confidant? Not much, right?
He's a lot more involved than Igor ever was. Like, Igor usually only showed up at the beginning of the game, when he went to the Velvet Room, maybe one other point in the game, and then at the end to tell you.
Give you the magical power.
Yeah. Here, Igor's a lot more involved, doing regular checkups on you. Throughout it, you don't really get any more Igor
information about Igor.
Yeah. Until like the very end, where he says very overtly horrible things.
Yeah, and then you figured out the scheme. Yeah, that's the thing that like kind of let me down, is when I first figured out that Igor was a confidant, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be really interesting. We're going to learn about like Igor and maybe Philemon and the Velvet Room and the attendants. Nope.
It's a fake Igor, and he's going to tell you barely anything more. He's going to check on you, and he's going to check on the world, and he's going to say, fuck the world. Also, he rigged everything from the start. So what was the point of this dumb little game?
Yeah, he's got like a weird Izanami kind of like problem going on, where overtly they like have kind of a mission in mind for you, and then when the mission is completed, they get fucking pissed.
And at the end, you still get like a max confidant for some reason.
Yeah, even though like your entire relationship is built on a lie.
Yeah, and he never actually wanted a relationship with you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes confidants and social links aren't sure if they're like my bond with this person or my understanding of this person, and sometimes it's kind of both. So usually in these like shit has gone wrong social links and confidants, like Adachi's, like Goro's, like Igor's, the end will be like, I understand him now. He's the devil. I mean, you get stuff from the confidant, and they're pretty good bonuses, but it's like, the thing about automatically progressing confidants like that is it barely counts as a bonus, because you're gonna get it no matter what.
I'm not a big fan of Persona stock being tied to the plot.
Yeah, like, I don't really mind it. It's like one of those, you know, whatever, gameplay, you'll get more personas as it goes kinds of thing. So I don't really mind it.
I preferred it being level-based. Next up, I guess, since there's not too much more to say about Igor.
It's a neat twist, but like the confidant part is kind of tacked on there. Bonuses he gives are good. Should we give an overall confidant rating for fucking Igor's?
No.
Why not? Just no.
Partially because I don't know how to rate it. On one hand, I like the story they gave to Igor and the little meta story we had. In his confidant himself, there's not too much to talk about. And like, if it were something optional, I wouldn't want to like spend time seeing those nothing events. They're nice personas.
I guess legally I have to give it a meh. Like you apparently are declining from giving it a rating, but I'll give it a meh. Like it's not bad, it's just fine.
Legally a meh.
Yeah, legally speaking, a meh. Like, story-wise, I think the shit with him is really cool, but this is a rating of the confidant, not of the story. So it's not really fair to do that.
Now, here's one that's actually a confidant in that you actually have to, like, actively do stuff, and it's optional, and that's really what hurts this the most.
So this is one of those, like, similar to Margaret's from Persona 4, and, like, the Elizabeth side quests from Persona 3, is like a make certain persona with certain skill and come show it to me, and then our relationship will somehow increase because of that.
And here is where the issue comes. Their confidant is stunted by the fact that they can't drop the Gotenks twist until the end of the game. They can hint at it, but they can't outright say it.
And that's basically like the whole kind of plot of the link is like there's some weird connection between us that we don't quite understand.
Like, not all of this is on screen, mind you.
Right. Like, they have the most interesting conversation at the very end of it, and it's off screen, and they just kind of tell you about what they talked about. Like, are you really gonna tease me like this?
Yeah, because they weren't allowed to use early. They weren't allowed to do like a fusion, and show you, oh shit, we're one. So what you have is a lot of links of them just dwelling on certain things and coming up with wrong theories.
Yeah, like, the whole focus of it is this list that neither of them know, like, why it exists. And what I thought they were kind of alluding to was, like, the idea that maybe Elizabeth wrote it, maybe Margaret wrote it, but no, that's not it at all. It's just Lavenza who wrote it.
I thought it was like a Velvet Room dossier type thing.
Like a Velvet Room training manual.
Yeah.
That would be pretty neat if it's like you're kind of helping them train, like they're new employees.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to figure this shit out.
Philemon wrote it. It was supposed to be included with a little VHS tape, but no, it's just, there is a list. What do we do about that?
It's very dull. And the fucked up thing about this is that they can do cool stuff with Velvet Room people. Like, Elizabeth's little thing isn't even a social link, and it's one of my favorite social links in Persona 3.
Yeah.
Because of all the fun, wacky shit that you do with her. And you're just confined to the Velvet Room in this, which, like, is the point, because it's a prison. But my counter-argument is you see them hanging out outside of the Velvet Room door.
Yeah.
So why can't you just ask them, like, hey, kids, you want to go get a burger?
I would love to see Caroline and Justine getting burgers.
Yeah, like, just go do neat, fun stuff with them. Like, learn about them as people, you know? I don't care about the list. Fuck the list. Like, the list can be a part of it, but can there be other things involved?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the problem, I think, with the structure like this, is that it never leads to anywhere except that topic and that location. Like, you're never gonna say, okay, here's my Jack Frost, and I taught it whatever the fuck. Cool. Let's go to the arcade.
Oh shit.
Dude, Caroline and Justine playing Gunabout?
They're really good. They're like the ice climbers. And hey, that could be where you learn, like, oh, we work really well together.
Like, towards the end of it, this is like the only interesting things they say throughout the entire thing is like, off screen, they had a conversation that sounded really interesting about like their strengths and weaknesses and how they complement each other. But that theme is like really never explored other than that. And that's like a neat theme to kind of like base something on, is two people trying to figure out how they work best together.
Yeah, but no, it's just a whole lot of, all right, here's the list. Maybe this is what the list is for. If this were a plot-based Confidant, I feel even that would be better.
Yeah.
Because at least then they could, like, fuse into Lavenza at the end, and then you get an actual reveal instead of being teased about a reveal.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Shit, like, Igor's, it should have been fucking swapped, now that I think about it. Like, Igor should have been the one, like, bring me a cool persona. And fucking the Velvet Twins should have been the one where you learn about them as people as the story progresses, and then eventually they turn to a Lavenza and the shit maxes out.
Yeah, and like Igor has a reason to ask for a cool persona because he can't fuse personas.
Right, he has no idea how to do that.
Maybe he's learning.
Dude, teaching Igor how to fuse a persona?
That'd be really fucking dumb.
That'd be like teaching Shaq how to shoot a basketball.
Going back to your point that where they're stuck in the Velvet Room, and even back to it's structured like shit, you can do good things with that structure. Like, I thought that Margaret's social link in Persona 4 was better than expected.
Yeah, like, the fucked up thing about the Velvet Room, like, social links and shit, is that this is such a fascinating plane of existence, and, like, what the hell even is a Velvet Room attendant, and, like, what's going on with Philemon. There's all these cool things that you can talk about, none of it is addressed. Ever.
Yeah, you get a bit of that in Margaret's. You don't get any of that here. Did you feel you learned anything? No. I feel like I learned less.
Like, intelligence was sucked out of you? Like, you lost knowledge?
I want to know more now. There's information that I don't know that I didn't know about before, but now I know that there's something there.
Yeah, that's what's kind of frustrating about it, is that it's like, this shit could be so interesting, but instead it's just so bland.
Plus we don't get a Confidant for Lavenza.
That's true.
Gotenks is so nothing. I see none of Caroline in there.
You're right, it's basically all Justine.
Maybe we'll see more of Lavenza in the future. I seriously doubt it.
Like, in the new dancing game, it's Caroline and Justine are on the box, it's not Lavenza. I don't know if they're doing that just because, like, spoiler reasons or what.
No, spoiler reasons will prevent Lavenza from ever appearing in anything in the future.
Yeah, I mean, Adachi's been in a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, he murdered people.
Lavenza is super unmarketable, let's be honest. Like, outside of her portrait, what does she look like? What is she wearing?
She's got, like, a blue dress on. It's kind of like an Alice in Wonderland sort of dress, but it's like the Velvet Room colors.
Oh my gosh, that's not a great design.
I think she's cute. Like, Caroline and Justine are obviously better designs, and I think Sojima really likes those two.
Yeah, they're really fun character designs.
Yeah.
But then, like, Lavenza is, like, she exists because of, like, plot reasons. But you know that in every spin-off from here on out, Ren Mamma Mia is gonna walk into the Velvet Room. They're going to
Caroline and Justine.
Yeah. And then he's gonna be like, hey, why are you two separated? And they're gonna be all like, the final boss defused us again. Whoops. Going to have a constant existence of being split up again. She's gonna be screwed over forever because her design isn't as recognizable.
Okay, this is what I think happened. Sojima was like, it would be cool if there was a pair of Velvet Room attendants. And then he thought, why are there two of them? And then he drew Lavenza.
I can't think of anything Lavenza related.
Yo, are we Caroline and Justine? We can't remember anything Lavenza related.
I guess my problem with Lavenza is it's just Justine, but more powerful. You lose the duo dynamic they had going on.
Yeah, that's what made them fun characters, is one of them was like sweet and kind of meek, but trying her best to be tough. And the other one was like tough and no nonsense, but trying to be sweet.
It was really fun, and then they just become sweet, I guess. Like, maybe at some point Lavenza was just going to be Elizabeth, who does...
Fuse and they turned into
And that would actually be optimal.
No, it wouldn't, because then, like, we've got a problem where we've got Elizabeth, who's a popular character, and then Caroline and Justine, who are popular characters. If they're the same thing, they're gonna have to split up all the time.
Like, make the fusion temporary and have them split up constantly and, like, fuse when they need to be more powerful. Just, like, Gotenks is popular, but so is Trunks.
How's about this schlock? Is, like, Elizabeth extracts them from her soul. Like, there's, like, a Kingdom Hearts. Like, they're a part of her heart. And then she fucking split, they come out.
Like, at least then we'd have a character. And Elizabeth actually does have traits from both Caroline and Justine. Like, as a character, she's a better fusion of the two. So, overall Confidant rating, I already forgot what it was out of 10.
Oh, we don't give out of 10s on this program.
Meh out of great.
I will also give it a meh out of great. I'm, like, almost at bad, but I don't think it's, like, a horrible fuck-up in the way that, like, Morgana's was. So I'll give it a meh. There was, like, an interesting moment.
You know what? It's bad.
Whoa. The unholy bad has appeared again.
Because not only is it completely forgettable, its conclusion, they aren't allowed to reach their own conclusion because of the plot. And that's worse.
I'm getting towards being on Team Bad. Like, yeah. It sucks because I really like Caroline and Justine as characters. At least it seems as though Caroline and Justine are going to be, like, the Velvet Room representatives of 5 from here going on.
Which is going to be stupid, because now we need to write
Yeah, now it doesn't make sense. Now they have to figure out, like, why are they unfused again?
Yeah. Writing Lavenza hurt them it's hurting them in the future. It's hurting their confidant. It's hurting...
it's hurting their company!
Sorry, their company. Caroline and Justine's battle theme is Rivers in the Desert. So, you know what? Based on Rivers in the Desert, I'm giving them a great.
Wait, okay, so we've got from you a bad, a meh, and a great.
Actually bad, but as characters, I'll give them a great. I was teetering on that good, but then I remembered, oh yeah, their theme is Rivers in the Desert.
Yeah, I'm on your team. I'll give them a bad. I don't think I like them quite enough to give them a great, but I'll give them a good. As characters, they're good, but their confidant fucking sucks. Happy Fit 10,000 week.
Happy Fit 10,000 week.